Okay, Q&A. Yeah, we decided every Saturday morning we'll do a Q&A. So any questions come in through the week, we'll answer those questions on Saturday morning. Those will be our Saturday morning topics. All right, this first one, Giselle, I believe I'm pronouncing your name right. Giselle. My name is Giselle. My question for you is, my boyfriend is a truck driver for a company who is looking to start his own trucking business. I am looking into doing freight brokerage. We would like to combine the two businesses. How do we go about doing this? All right, Giselle, first of all, you don't. You don't combine the two. You keep them separate. You've got to. The carrier operation, trucking operation, the trucking business needs to be its own separate entity. You'll obviously have an LLC for that. And your broker operation will also be its separate entity. Now, you in your email you sent me, you said you were going to start out as an agent. As we've suggested, you've watched our videos, and that's a good idea. But when you go to file your own authority, you're going to want to set up an LLC just for the broker operation. So you got the carrier operation and the broker operation. You want them separate, totally separate. That doesn't mean they can't work together. The reason you want them separate as separate entities, so if something happens bad to one, the other will not be affected. Now, what I'm getting at, I'm not wishing boyfriend anything, but if he got out there, had an accident, somebody came back and sued the trucking company, the brokerage wouldn't be involved at all, and vice versa. See what I mean? So you're protecting one, liability issues is what it's for. Now, that's what you want to do. Now, as far as combining the two, okay, I touched on this the other day, too, in another video. I think it's dropped, maybe not. But, and we get this all the time. Understand that, the carrier authority that he will have to operate under for his trucking operation, that allows him to get customers direct. And this goes back to what we were just talking about. So he can get customers and, negotiate contracts and fuel surcharges and all that, so he's not limited to working with the broker 100% of the time. Now, if he's only going to have one truck, it's going to be hard to sit down from across the table from anybody and negotiate a contract, because generally a lot of these companies want you to have 5 trucks, trailers, whatever, drop trailers, that's in time. You don't want to go spending all your money to try to buy a whole bunch of stuff you're not ready for yet. This is one thing I always tell all my clients: keep your overhead low till you can afford to expand. Sometimes, you got to spend a little, make a little, but there are ways you can protect yourself. Don't go out here and spend, $3 million when you don't have any business yet. You may have some nice trucks, nice trailers, but no loads. And believe me, you don't want to try to use a broker for all that equipment. Go back to Taltoa. Find the Taltoa channel on YouTube, and there's a video in there for trucking companies about how much money they're not making using a broker 100% of the time. But what I'm getting at, the trucking business needs to have its own customers. Now, before he does that, my recommendation is always start the brokerage. Get the brokerage going, even as a broker agent. All right? Even as a broker agent, start building the customer base. Talk to your boyfriend and find out what kind of equipment he's going to be pulling. And what I mean by that, dry van, flatbed, refrigerated. All right? When you learn that, now you can focus your efforts on finding customers that have loads to go on that type of equipment. So you get that rolling. You're building a customer base. What's going to happen now, he's going to go out here, buy the equipment, get his own authority, and now you've got customers that can put loads on that truck. All you're going to do, you're going to set them up separately. It's not going to be run through the brokerage. You do not want to broker loads to his truck. And even if he says, hey, honey, you can broker loads to my truck and you'll make money. No, that's defeating the purpose here. Okay, y'all want to work together, combined. So you got to make it beneficial to him. You'll be making money, and I'll explain that in a moment. What's going to happen when he gets his own authority, you'll call back your customer and say, hey, We are now an asset-based brokerage. What that means is you have your own equipment. You do, through his trucking operation. Just tell your customer you're going to send over your the carrier the paperwork for the carrier side of the operation to the customer. Now, anytime there's a load that your boyfriend wants to haul, you just call your customer and say, hey, we're going to put this load on our truck. And they will send the load confirmation and everything to the carrier side of the operation. And the carrier side of the operation can direct bill that shipper once the load is delivered. See what I mean? Now, that's still your customer because you're set up as a broker, for that customer. It's just now the broker side of the operation set up with that customer, the carrier side of the operation set up with that customer. If the customer has loads that your boyfriend can't haul or doesn't want to haul, broker it. So you can broker it and still make money. Make sense? All right. If it don't, Giselle, feel free to contact me, 479-668-0838. Send me an email, fbtv@freightbrokertv.com. Be happy to answer it for you. Okay, another question. Trucking company I was doing business with crossed out the paragraph, the clause in the contract. I get what you're saying. On their broker-carrier agreement, the clause was for the no back solicitation. What should I do when this happens? That's from Mark in Wyoming. Not a lot of trucking companies up in Wyoming. But anyway, not that Wyoming's bad, just not a lot of stuff coming out of Wyoming. You got a lot of oil-filled carriers up there, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, so you sent the carrier. I've had this happen to me a handful of times over the 25, 30 years I've been in transportation, and I mean just a handful. You sent the carrier your broker-carrier agreement during the setup process. The carrier got your contract, signed it, but what they did, they crossed out the clause, the no back solicitation clause. Now, what the no back solicitation clause states is that the trucking company may not back solicit the customer being where they're getting the load, okay, for X amount of time. If they want any loads from that customer, they have to go through the brokerage. They can't just, haul this one load and tomorrow be hauling loads direct for the customer. It kind of defeats the purpose for the broker anyway. So they crossed it out and they sent it back. Okay, this has happened to me, like I said, a handful of times. And what I do whenever that happens, I will call the dispatcher. I'm not going to be threatening or anything. I'm just going to tell him, hey, man, we can negotiate the load all day long. But the broker-carrier agreement, hey, man, it is what it is. It's not negotiable. I've never lost a truck when I had to do that. They always said, okay, I'll send you another one and I won't mark it up. They're just trying to see what they can get away with. You want to check that contract. There was a story years ago. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's silly enough, probably true, that there was a broker out there somewhere that in their, they figured nobody was reading the contracts, the broker-carrier agreements. They figured that. And what they did, they put a clause in that contract stating that the cost to use that broker's services was going to be $1,500 a year, something like that. So, and the monies would be deducted by the loads they hauled. So a trucking company hauled the load for him, and, maybe it was a load that was paying $800. I'm just pulling numbers out of the air now. Well, they sent their invoice into that brokerage, and they got a letter back stating that, hey, you only owe us $700 now. The trucking company just goes, what? Yeah, you signed a contract. You're paying us $1,500 a year for the services. The money's going to be... I don't know if that's true or not, but you got to read those things. Don't just sign it because you think it is what it's supposed to be. You see what I'm getting at? All right. All right, what else have we got going on? Before we get into that, just so you know, because this video is going to be, the topic from the video, the Q&A is going to show up on as one of our YouTube drops here in the next few days. If you're watching this video when it's on YouTube, the topic Q&A, first of all, want to remind you, join us every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Central Time. That is when we do a FBTV Video Podcast live streamed on YouTube, and we'll take the topic out. We'll make a separate video out of it, and that's what you're watching now. But if you got any questions or anything, feel free to, leave a comment below. We read those, and we'll get questions and put them in here. Another thing, too, if you wanted to email, you can do that, fbtv@freightbrokertv.com. Forums on our website. You can Skype us, FBTV. Just do a search for FBTV, and it'll get to us.